got HIV. Never thought it would happen to my child.
Welcome to everybody from the DMV and beyond. Welcome to another episode of Positive Voices. And I'm Malachi Stewart.
I'm T. Pearson Hall.
Thank you for being here, T. And listen, we're here to talk about something that I found very interesting as a person living with HIV. We're here to talk about how family and HIV connect. A lot of times we have focused on the person living with HIV, but we don't always take time to think about how that impacts their family and the people they're living with. So we have two special guests here, a mom and son combo, here to talk about their experiences. Introduce yourself to our audience.
How y'all doing? My name is Derrick Strawberry Cox, better known as Strawberry.
Hey, Strawberry.
Hey, Strawberry.
My name is Trina Williams.
Hi,
Hey,
Katrina.
Miss Katrina.
Thank you for being here.
Thank
Call
you.
me Trina.
We'll call you Trina.
Yes.
All right.
We'll call you
Thank
Trina. It's
You.
family
We appreciate
today.
it. Yes.
Okay.
So to start off, many of us know your story. I have to say, coming to the DMV as a transplant from Philly, you were one of the first people that I saw. It was good to see another black gay man, another butch queen, if you will. But you were very heavily advertised, right? Like if you saw the Whitman Walker posters, you were like one of the first people I saw openly talking about your story living with HIV. I don't think there's a person here who lives in the DMV even who doesn't know your story. But for people who may not know, tell them a little bit about your story, how you connect with HIV.
So I connect with HIV in a funny way. So I took my best friend, her name's Shara Dalton. She thought she had a little situation going on and she was scared, especially when it came to her health. So we went to the doctor together to go get her checked. And then I ended up getting checked with her. But then, it came back that she just had a urinary tract infection, something so slight and easy to get rid of course. And I asked the doctor that, that treated her, I was asked the doctor, I said, well, what about mine? And she just waved me off. She's like, oh, well, you got HIV. Just waved me off. Just some random white lady just waved me off like she expected me to know that I already had HIV. And she walked out the room.
Wow.
So it was immediately my best friend, she started busting out crying and everything. I was like, how are you crying? And she was like, because you're such a nice person. I was like, well, me being nice ain't got nothing to do with me and my status.
HIV doesn't discriminate.
It does not discriminate because, I'm a very nice person. But, instead of me going off and going crazy and, like choking the life out of that doctor, so I pressed charges against her. And of course, we went down the line and eventually definitely got her fired because of how everything happened.
Thank you for that.
And then, of course, I went to my doctor and we did the whole, back check, and then even with my doctor, even when it came back positive with my doctor, I still got it checked again with somebody else. Just, that 3-time strike and then you out type situation scenario. But after we found out that, it was initially that I was HIV positive, then, me and my doctor went to the next step scenario as far as treatment and what pill worked best for me.
Can I ask you, when you first were diagnosed, as a person who sat there for that diagnosis, the next thought, I know for myself, I waited a little bit before I told my mama. My mama was the first person in my family I told. I told my friends first. But I waited a couple weeks to tell my mom. What was your thoughts about what it was going to be like having to tell your mom, having to tell your family?
Well, it wasn't really hard for me at all because my mother was the first person I called. And so I called her and just like she said basically the same thing I said. She was like, well, you better go get another opinion. I was like, well, we already going to go do that anyway. And then she was like, you've been through worse. I was like, you're right. I just wanted you to know. So
Wow. That's so,
we was already there. I just wanted her to know. There'll be no surprises.
For sure.
That's amazing. Miss Trina. I can call you Miss Trina. Okay. Miss Trina, so knowing, right, that Strawberry was you was the first person that he called to kind of give his status, was it something that you took, and I heard you say, well, you've been through worse, and like that encouragement piece, but like what was your initial reaction, if you don't mind sharing, like once he called and says, Ma, da-da-da-da-da?
Well, my initial reaction was, how did you get it? Why wasn't you safe? Who did it? I wanted to beat him up.
Yeah.
So,
some real mama stuff.
Like,
Mama bear, protective mode.
Yeah. So, it's like when he first told me he was gay. So, I was like, well, if that's what you want to live by.
Okay.
You got to take what come at you. So, you just can't. So it was hard. It was a little hard because, I was really in my feelings, really wanted to go beat that person up.
Yeah.
Because he actually showed me who it was. So me and my son wanted to go beat him up. So.
Oh, Strawberry, you gave up the name. And Mom and brother was definitely trying to go. Yeah.
That's my son.
Yeah. That's
right.
natural.
Imagine this is my son.
Protection, yeah.
He got HIV. Never thought it would happen to my child.
Yeah.
But my brother had it too. So being though what my brothers go through when he came around the family, they didn't want to touch him.
Wow.
Didn't want to discuss it with the family because it's really none of their business. That was our business.
Yes.
So when the brother came around, they didn't want to take a cup after him. They didn't want to eat around him. They didn't want to do nothing. And he was crying. He was in his feelings.
Yeah.
But when it came down to my son, no, you would not do this to my son.
That part.
But
Thank you for that.
He ain't never around nobody anyway. So.
What you, Strawberry, you ain't outside?
No, he not. No, let me rephrase that.
Right.
He ain't around the family.
Oh, okay.
He around everybody else but the family,
listen,
okay?
That blood
So
don't
that
make you
being
family
said,
sometime when it comes to different stuff.
He's a busy person.
I
No
know.
matter what he got inside him,
Yes.
he stay busy. He's on the go 24. Always calling mom. Or I'm always calling him. What you doing? Where you at? Because I know you're doing something.
Miss
That's
I
amazing.
appreciate you being a mama bear. I think so many of us, and it's why I thought it was so important to have you on the show, because there are so many moms out there with new positive, their children are new positive, and they don't know how to react.
Yeah.
And I think you're helping people to see like a reaction that's supportive. And then there are so many of us who didn't have, it's no blueprint on parenting, right? You make mistakes, and there's so many of our moms who just weren't prepared for that moment and didn't always do the right thing. And I think you being that mama bear and protective is affirming to a lot of people. Like, maybe your mama couldn't give it to you, but Ms. Trina on here telling you now that who you are does not change based upon your diagnosis.
Because
Yes.
this is my son.
Hello,
He's gonna always
before
be
everything.
mine, no matter what happened. If I need him, he's there. What? Come on now. Don't block my son out, because this is me.
For sure.
These kids that I have are me. All are me.
Respect for that.
Don't do nothing to my kids. I'm
Respect for that.
How did that feel, Strawberry? Like that your mom was so protective?
Well, my mother been hood
supportive.
all my life, so I mean, it wasn't. Like I tell everybody know my story. We from Berry Farms, so
No, you're not from Berry Farm.
Well, that's where we lived. That's where we grew up.
No, you didn't live in Berry Farm. You lived in 3700 Ninth Street. We did not live in Berry Farm. That's where my mama lived.
What'd you say?
But we stayed in Berry Farms.
That's where he went.
Because
he
she
went to
always
visit
was
my
at
mom.
work.
Yeah, mama had to work.
Boss say that's like when you say I'm from DC, but you really from Landover.
No.
She was like, don't. She said, don't do it.
I don't rock no hood.
Yes.
I'm from
don't
my
wanna
mama's
rock it
womb.
at
That's
all.
where I'm from.
Hello.
I'm not from Berry Farm. I don't rock Berry Farm. I'm not from no hood. I'm me.
I'm me.
So when I walk the streets, I'm still me.
Hello, wherever you at.
Yes.
Coming through.
And we
Miss
definitely know
Trina.
Strawberry from you, because y'all
Yes.
y'all don't look alike. But you said that it was helpful. You said that you felt you expected her to be supportive.
Yeah, I
and to
really
be
knew she was gonna be
protective.
supportive. Yeah.
You've heard the horror stories though. I mean, you've worked in the community.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We both have. So we've heard what it looks like for people to not have that. Do you notice that your story, or do you feel like it's different because you had such
So,
supportive?
our connection wasn't like, me and my mother growing up, our connection was always there. It was like pinpoint. But then, the whole me being gay thing, she was in denial a little bit about it, in the beginning, because, she didn't want that life for me. And then, she just didn't want that life for me, basically. And, we was mad at each other for a little minute, but we came back around. Because it's like she said, at the end of the day, that's my mother and I'm her son, so.
The thing is, being gay is not a problem with me. He didn't need to dress like a woman to be gay. You still can be a man and look good at what you do. So if you're gonna be gay, be gay. I don't care what you are. You're
And was it
still
part of
my
that
child.
fear? Like, because you know how the world is, right?
Right.
So I'm sure you've seen men that are like feminine presenting in the world, and it's not always safe. Was like I hear from you like a protective mama who loves her kids. Was a part of that like, I don't want you to be out here presenting in a way that could get you hurt?
Yeah, draw more attention.
No,
or
the
something.
thing is, when I see a lot of gay men acting out, they act crazy, they trifling. Some of them, they just loud and about. You don't have to be like that.
Yeah.
And I told him, you don't have to be like that. You look good.
You look like
You
me.
look good today.
He look good all the time.
Yes.
You go back and look at all his pictures. You don't have to be loud and ghetto all the time. Like, come on now. You don't have to do all that.
Understood.
We know who you are. You represent very well.
Understood.
Very well. She said, don't you know? Question for you. So as we talk about like this family dynamic, right? And so I was raised by my grandparents. And so like we were probably the catalyst of the family. All the cousins and all that stuff came over all the time, broke up my stuff. But another story. So when you received the information, right, and you guys processed it and all of that stuff, at some point it has to get out, as we talked about family a little earlier, like that conversation with family. And so what I think about when I heard you first talk about your uncle,
My brother.
Your brother, sorry. Instantly came to my mind was the movie Philadelphia, right? Because I think that probably was the earliest time that I kind of saw HIV portrayed on TV, right? And then the way that the acting was and all of that, it was very much portrayed like, if you touch me, if you sit next to me, it's like chicken pox and like, it's going to jump off and grab you. And so I think for me and like probably a lot of my cousins, because we watched it one day, weird movie to watch in the summer, but it led to a lot of conversation as kids, right? As kids about what the virus was and all of that. And it wasn't until I got to be an adult that I started doing the work and learning about it and all of that stuff. But my mind was stuck on Philadelphia for a long time. And I think that's kind of, in my opinion, probably the catalyst for a lot of the fear that's in our community when it comes to HIV and AIDS. So how did you, if I may, have that conversation? Like, if you can remember that first conversation with a family member, and you don't have to say their name, don't jump them out there, but, what was that first conversation like? Was it something positive? Was it negative? Or how did it come about?
My brother or
No,
my
about
son?
for your son.
Well,
Who was the first person to come or you have a conversation with, not only just about him being gay, but also his status?
Well, I don't even know who I had the first conversation with.
Yeah.
But if
You
I
remember?
did have a conversation about him, because it's really, like I said, none of their business.
There you go.
But if I did tell somebody, probably was my mother,
Uh-huh.
and it was like, I just told her.
Uh-huh.
And she said, well, don't worry about nothing. I said, I'm not worried about nothing.
There you go.
Just wanted to go beat the boy up that gave it to him.
Hello.
Once again, back to that.
Well, she said back to the
But like I
beginning,
said,
yeah.
with my brother, it was different. It wasn't like him because didn't nobody treat him like that because of me.
Right.
So
Right.
with my brother, when he was staying with my mother, I had to move him out of there and move him with me and make him feel comfortable.
Because you understood.
About what he had. Not that I understood, but that's my brother. I see past the disease.
Yes.
I don't care about what they have. You are my family.
That's so honorable. And thank you. Y'all heard what she said. Y'all heard what she said. Let that sink in. Sorry.
I believe I felt like when I told my mom. I remember being in a room full of maybe 10 of us. We were all telling our HIV stories. Forget the event. And all of us had the exact same experience, literally the exact same terms our mothers used. When I told my mom, I didn't even get it out. She finished it for me. I said, Mom, I have to tell you something. And I'm looking down because I'm like, I don't want to do this. And by the time I looked up, my mom just looked and said, do you have the virus? Wow. When I said this in the room, everybody was like, yo, my mom said the same thing. Are they reading a pamphlet somewhere? but I'm saying that, Miss Katrina, because it felt like my mom was waiting or fearing that ever since I told her I was gay. That there was a fear. Do you feel like you were waiting or at some point had a fear that I'm gay was going to lead to one day having this conversation, Mom, I'm positive?
Oh, wow.
No, I didn't feel like that. I just feel the fear of him being gay and people bother him and he having problems with people. I told him to accept. But when he first told me he was gay, and he was going to work out, at McDonald's, and he was walking to work. So he came back, he cried, and I was like, no, we don't cry. We don't do that. You're a old boy, I ain't crying. So I gave him 2 weapons. I think he still had them same weapons today. Because he said police, busman, everybody was coming at him the wrong way, disrespecting him.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to walk you to work. I'm not going to ride you to work. You're going to go to work. If you beat somebody down, I'm going to take the blame.
That's a protective mother.
That's it.
But I hear you saying because if I'm ever not here, you have to learn how to navigate the world and be yourself. If you dare to be, whatever that looks like, learn how to navigate that in a way where you're able to be safe. And I think you do an amazing job, Strawberry. I mean, I've never ever seen you in any drama. To your mother's credit, I've never seen you out here acting ghetto or acting out of character. You always came. You're well put together. You're always one of the most kindest, one of the most sweet people in the room. You're definitely a person. If somebody's by themselves off to the side, you come in to make sure that they're good and that they feel included. So Mama did a good job with you. I want to ask, it's one thing to be HIV positive. It's one thing to accept yourself. It's one thing to have acceptance from your family. But you chose to be an advocate. You out here, I mean, every platform, you out here sharing, and you're really the face of it. What made you decide to do that?
So I kind of like fell into that. That wasn't like really a choice. So,
Okay. Okay, tell us how it happened.
So, even with the name Strawberry, like trying to find my own identity, just learning to accept myself and fully loving myself for who I am, just, from my, my past and upbringings and everything and just everything I was surrounded by. So I just wanted to find a love for myself and then find like-minded others. And so, came into Smiles and then came into Whitman Walker, came into Us Helping Us, just all these different organizations, around like 14. Then I was like, okay, cool. I see other gay people. Let me get more involved with these nonprofit organizations. So I started volunteering. And then that volunteer work just came into me like, I don't know, kind of making it my own, I guess. And then me telling them what they could do better. And then so I just started like volunteering, then they started paying me for volunteering. And then it just fell into it. So I was already doing work with HIV, and it's just like once I became positive, it was just like, okay, now I connect more to everybody else that actually have it. So now I can make it mean more, and I can make them see, that it will be okay. My words are not just words. I can share my experience as well. So, but I still had a little pushback from that because I didn't have like the other people's stories. I didn't have anything bad happen to me because of HIV. It was more so me just being feminine and gay that I had bad experience on. Me being positive, there was nothing. Everybody's like, oh, okay, it's fine. I don't care. It was like, oh, you don't look sick. And I was like, thank you. You still got to keep yourself up.
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
But I just literally like fell into it and everybody saw how comfortable I was with it. So just so many different nonprofit organizations would just ask me, oh, do you want to do this interview? Or you mind being on the poster for this? So I'm like, yeah, I don't care. They was like, you sure? I was like, yeah, I don't care. They was like, we can have therapy sessions. I was like, no, I don't care. Seriously. I don't.
Yeah.
Like it makes no difference.
You were good at it, and your gift made room for you. Yeah, for sure.
Walking in your purpose.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, Mama, listen. I know that my mama comes from an era, y'all. It's similar era of like your business. Like I've heard you say it several times. That's not people's business. That y'all era is very much like you don't tell people your business out in the street. So I want to know how that was for you as mama. With okay, you gay. Okay, you're HIV positive. But you're an advocate. You out here on every platform sharing your business. Was that hard for you to navigate watching your child do that? Was there fear around how people would receive his business?
No, none of that.
Because you knew you raised the
I
gangster.
enjoyed it.
Right, and
Gangster.
she's the OG.
Yes.
Just accept it. Just accept
Like what?
my thug.
Hey, what you say, Shover? Don't play with it.
Okay.
He ain't no thug. But no, I enjoy his life. He put me in some of it. He let me go to some of his rewards and all that stuff. So I really enjoy being with Derrick. Even though he's out there and I'm just in here. I ain't doing what he doing. So,
For sure.
You doing it today, though.
Yeah, I guess.
You doing what he's doing today.
Yeah.
Because you joined him as an advocate today. And so welcome to advocacy, right? Because what you both are doing is talking to the masses about the family structure and how it looks different for different people. And so my heart is just pounding over here of just the joy and the love that I see you guys kind of showing as we kind of talk to the different communities about what I heard you say that resonated with me is like, and no matter what, this is my son.
Yeah.
Because there are so many families, not even just moms, but so many families that don't say that. It's the quite opposite, and it forces them out into the streets, which, from the work I've done before, could be very dangerous for folks. And so, to your credit, as Kai says, I want to make sure we acknowledge your stronghold of strength and resilience.
But
and
I don't even think about his disease most of the time. It's like when he called me with it, like, damn, I forgot he had this disease.
Right.
Like it wasn't even on my mind. It
Right.
don't be on my mind because I overlook it.
yeah.
Because like I said, once again, he's my son. I love my son. He cannot. He look too healthy to be having anything, like they said.
Hello.
So,
But sometimes we don't look like what we've been through either.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's life. People go through everything every day. So, like you say, the people out on the streets, but you got to wonder why they out there sometimes.
Yeah.
It ain't always because of that disease.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
or a lot of things they go through is they just want it to be out there. Sometimes I think they just want to be out there.
And lack of support system, though, too, plays a large role.
Yeah, that too.
If folks don't have somebody that they can come and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm battling, these are my challenges, and like help me kind of process through. It kind of leaves folks out. They still have the
support and still don't think they got the support
that
at
is
the
true
same
too.
time.
Then we could probably put that over that mental health category, right? And just start to flip over into all of these.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yes.
This
into
leads
those
to a
different
lot of things, though.
Yes, ma'am.
So, but like I said, yeah, you got to overlook that sometimes. Like I said, it ain't even on my mind. Like I forget the fact that he do have that disease because he's so healthy.
I love that because
unless he bring it up like y'all just did, bro, me here to this thing.
To be an advocate.
Because now she's an advocate.
Talk about my son. And it's like, I ain't forgot, boy, what?
Right.
But
I told him it better not be a setup, because he always set me up.
Oh, that's why you was apprehensive when you came in here?
He set me up on some things, I'd be like, what he got me into now?
It was just one time we went to a hair show, a hair fashion show.
It was a setup.
And like 3 of the models got sick. So in the designer, he was like, is that your sister? I was like, no, that's my mother.
Ooh, hello, sis.
Everybody always say that's my sister.
Hello, sis.
He was like, well, ask her if she want to walk. I was like, my mother never been in a fashion show. I said, but okay, I'll go ask her. She was like,
did you walk it?
She did.
Yeah,
but she was very apprehensive.
He said, Ma, I need you to do.
I know. I said, I need you to come in the back real quick.
Yeah, so he didn't ask.
So you thought she was going back there and put a little safety pin or something, maybe?
I needed her help with something.
The shoes that I had to wear gave to another girl because she didn't come prepared. So,
hello.
It's like,
you did that.
You set me up. I'm nervous. I don't know what. He said, Ma, all you got to do is walk.
No, I said, just put
That's
put
all
this
you got to do is walk.
But you gave it to him.
I came to watch the show. You walk.
Right.
But it was just a scary thing sometimes. But y'all make me feel comfortable, so I'm not scared on this TV because,
appreciate it.
I appreciate it because we both worked in the community, and you just don't see a lot of people. What really inspired me, if I'm being honest, I told you I was the one that requested that you be on here because I watched Strawberry not as another feminine gay man. I watched Strawberry at these events being gay as all outdoors, which we love to see. But you're not just there. You're there with your family. You're there with your twin brother who is straight. You're there with people, and they got you. They're not uncomfortable. They're so supportive. And we know that that's not always the narrative. There's so many people out there that just when they came out, lost complete contact with their family.
Yes.
And never saw their family again.
Yes.
There are people who navigated, and because of that, navigated being positive, navigated learning, and they might be fine, they might be healthy, but they had to navigate alone.
Yeah.
And so seeing you even in that space, like that means something to so many people to even see it. And so I just knew that people needed to see and hear what you had to say. And it is somebody's mom. You know how many people's moms reach out to me and said, my child is HIV positive. What do I do? And I'm like, I know what to do from the person living with HIV. I don't have no kids. I'm not nobody's mama. I could never replicate what a mama feels for their child. So your presence here helps like us navigate. Question for you. I feel like my family didn't know a lot about HIV before I became HIV positive. Do you feel like you learned more just because of your love for your son, like wanting to know?
I read up on it after finding out that he had it. And it's like, hey, should I go get tested? Even though I know it ain't me, but I have got tested for it, and but no, a lot of families still don't know about HIV today. They just know if you say you got it, they don't want to be near you. They don't want to catch it. They don't want you in their house because they don't want you to drink after them. They don't want you to touch their dish. They don't want you to sleep in their bed and all that. Because this is how my brother got treated. So this is what he told me, how they was treating him down my mama's house. So it was like I was crying for him.
Yeah.
So, and you hate for people to get treated that way. So when my son told me, I know I wasn't going to treat my son like that.
And wasn't going to allow nobody else to either.
No, I wasn't. I never allowed nobody else to do nothing to my kids.
Period.
They didn't even talk down to my kids. When I came around, they didn't call them out their name. They didn't disrespect them because of me.
I appreciate
they
that.
couldn't even talk to nobody unless I gave them a nod.
Yeah, it's the nod for me.
Let me tell you, I used to feel like we was adopted because she wouldn't let us go nowhere, see nobody, spend the night over nobody's house. I mean, we just couldn't do nothing.
She's
protective. Yeah.
And I understand that.
Too overprotective.
I've learned to understand that. But back in the day, I was like, just tell me I'm adopted and just be honest.
How you gonna be adopted looking like me?
The whole
That's
face.
the only excuse she had. That
The
we
whole
look alike.
The whole face.
Yeah.
That was it.
But you
Oh,
know,
they not twins though.
I know. It's
y'all not twins? Oh my God, I thought y'all was twins.
No, we're not twins. It's just
Gee.
it's just easier. So
Big
every,
girl here on podcast. But they are not twins.
they are not twins.
no, but look, every time somebody see us out, they always like, "Oh my God, you have a twin." I'm like, sometimes I say yeah, but depending on who the person
But
is. If
I
wanna
realized I
stand
thought that
right
was your twin because I was going with it. When you was like twin, I was like, they did really.
Well, he'll immediately say yes because he don't want to go through. Because when we say no, everybody be like, "You sure?" And I'm like,
Mama, like, I know how long it took for one to come out.
Oh, yeah, I know.
The
It's
time
like-
distance to the next one coming out.
Now, are they stair steppers?
They're a year apart.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's
they're
like
a year
my little
apart.
brothers.
So, but they're not twins though. So
It's close enough.
She ain't having it. She like, no, not even Irish. They're not
Not even
twins.
Right.
they too different. And but
maybe that's
as
Greek
kids, he
twins.
was overprotective of him. He probably still a little overprotective and get mad when he don't listen to him. But you know,
I had to just take therapy for that.
Amen. Shout out to mental health.
Yes.
Okay, professionals. I had a question. So I don't know, and you've probably heard as what you call them, original Washingtonians, right? So growing up, we had, and I'm from Landover, so we like right almost like the cousins for DC, right? But we had a lot of conversation hanging out at my great grandmother's house in Kenilworth, right? And it was these running jokes of was HIV was said house in heaven. Oh, they got that house in heaven, right? That was the analogy for HIV. And then for AIDS, it was the AI die slow. That's what people say. Oh, they got that AI die slow. Or they got that house in heaven, right? And it's like, that's some ignorant stuff, right? But as kids, when everybody is saying the same thing, as kids, you got to grow up. And so as you grow up with that same mindset, like, you both were saying, with this lack of education that a lot of us in our community, I don't want to speak for nobody else's, but we tend to not really educate ourselves on things. We kind of take street credit for it. Or right now, like if TikTok say it is law, right? If Instagram popping is law, if a influencer say it, then like no one's second guessing it. How many people done died this year that ain't dead, right? Because it done come across so-and-so dead. You be like, oh Lord, and then it's shared 1,001 times before they say no. And so those stigmas kind of grow with people. And so I applaud you, right? Of being able just to say, I'm going to take this education, I'm going to learn it because I want to know what's going on with my son. So what could you say to another mom that is in your position at this very moment whose child may call them and say, Mom, I'm positive? What encouragement, right? Because you're an advocate now, right? So what encouragement could you give that mom, knowing the research that you've done already, knowing that what's inside your son, your words, right? What's inside your son don't matter because that's your son. Can you talk right here and tell that mom that's going to watch this episode, that's probably going I'm going to kick my son out because I ain't having it up in my house and don't drink off of my stuff, right?
well, I would tell that mom, if you love your son like you say you love him when he was first born to you, you would accept him. You wouldn't give him up. You would be there for him, and you would let nobody hurt him. So it'd be like if she was pregnant and she had HIV and her child came out with it, she would accept it like she would accept herself.
Wow.
So don't hurt your child. Just be there for him.
Eee.
Even as a grown person,
Thank
be there
you.
for your child because he's still yours no matter what.
Hello. She did
Mom,
that.
don't do that. I asked you not to make me.
Can you pass it?
Yeah. You got me on the tip. Now, what did I ask you?
Look, take one and pass it around. Hey, you want one?
I don't.
She don't cry.
Right. Look, I'm about to say she wouldn't dare take a tissue. I just
You
put
cry.
the pass
What are you
that.
talking about?
on your
It
own
be
time.
thug tears.
It gotta be
Yeah.
look, it gotta be
Yeah.
something. It gotta be something real. But yeah, so to clear that, when she said, when I came to her and I was crying from my experience of working, when she said, you don't cry. So she's not saying that men don't cry. Okay, she's not that type of mother, because
Right.
she knew
My
all
sons
feelings and
don't
emotions.
cry.
She said you don't cry when people do this or that, because you, like she said, she was telling me how to take on the world and how to accept myself, and you chose to be this and you chose to do this, so this is everything that come with it.
Yeah.
So you gonna deal with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was in that moment that I was just like, all right, F everybody.
I'm going to ask you to do the same thing your mom did, which is speak to people. But before I do that, I heard that when you said, I'm glad you cleared it up. I immediately understood when you said you don't cry.
But somebody's
what you were
not gonna
saying.
get it.
And so I'm glad that
Yeah.
you cleared it up. And it leads me to ask you another question, because I feel like when you are, it's one thing to raise a child that's, black gay man. But a black gay femme child, there is a little bit of like, you're gonna have to gangsta up. You're gonna have to knuckle up, because the world is not playing with you out here. And as soon as people feel like you are passive or soft or something they could run over, they give an inch.
Yes.
And watch them take a whole mile, a state,
Hello?
if you will. And do you feel like even that like kind of tough love happened to like bulk up? Do you feel like that was helpful?
So in the beginning, at first, no, I didn't feel like it was helpful. I just felt like, I was like, this woman is hood and she will always be hood, and I'm tired of this. Like, it's like, I'm feminine, get it through your mind. I need some support. But
Yeah, I'm kind.
but like I said, growing up, where we came from or whatever, and it built all my, I'll say all my bad experience came with that, that mentality, and it made me tougher and it made me stronger. Because it's like you said, if you show them how weak you are, or if you don't do anything to defend yourself, they will keep bothering you. Like the kids in school, the kids in the neighborhood, like everybody did make fun of me because of my red hair, because I was feminine, and because sometimes I pretended to be shy, just so I wouldn't be as interactive, and, for nobody wouldn't bother me. But none of that helped, because they still was gonna pick on me, because I was just the pick of the day, because I just looked so different, and then I acted so different as well.
Yeah.
So I had to get that backbone, and then I didn't want to, but then I had to start fighting. So it's like, once they saw that I could fight, one, then two, I was a little semi-crazy. So it's like, once you start putting yourself out there, showing that you do have a backbone, people do learn and they listen. So, that's just the life we live in.
It is the life we live, but I appreciate
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, we hope that the world continues to change and be a more safe space.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who is out there, like, they may not have a mama like yours, or maybe they do and they don't know that they have a mama that's going to support them yet because you've never seen it. What would you say to someone out there who is struggling with disclosure to their family, disclosure to their loved ones? What advice would you give them?
Most of the time, the same advice I give everybody, love yourself first. And, once it comes to you loving yourself first, then you'll be able to tell those people that are important to you anything that you feel like you want to share with them. Because like you say, it's your body, it's your life. You live for you. You don't have to tell nobody anything. But, we all do want that support, and we all do want somebody that, that we feel close to, that we can share with. So, if you do have a mother, a father, an uncle, or whoever you feel that's in your life that you can feel comfortable with sharing whatever you need to share with them, especially your status, share with them. But after you share it with yourself and accept yourself for all that you are and can internalize.
That's the part.
That's beautiful. I appreciate you sharing. I have one more question. This is my last question.
Okay.
My question is, so many people struggle with adherence, right? You know that, especially in the beginning. People struggle with taking a pill. It's every day. Was family helpful in keeping you accountable? Because you know how mamas could be. And we have a similar mama. My mama is not as gangster, but she's definitely on it. She's definitely on it. And in the beginning, I felt like my mom made it clear her expectations. Like, I'm not going to treat you different. I'm just Kai when I'm home. Nobody talks about it. But the expectation is that you take care of yourself and live because you're my baby.
Right.
And I want you alive. And I was very clear about that. Adherence wasn't just for me. My family's voice became a part of that. Do you feel like...
So my upbringing, my mother already knew, like, I was OCD, still am OCD. So my mother already knew with just with the expectations of me being her son. She never really checked on me for it, because like she said, she never thought about it unless I talked to her about it. Hell, it was one time we had a conversation. She was like, "Are you sure you sick? You sure you got it?" It's like you're never in the hospital. But no, she already knew I was going to do what I needed to do to stay healthy and take care of myself. So it wasn't even a discussion to have with the medicine. But what I will say behind it, with the medication, once I did go through the variations of medication to find the right one for me, because you do have that choice and that option, because it's your body and you get to choose what you put in it.
Talk about it.
So if you don't like something, you do get to change it.
You do get to change
Would
it.
you say you got it right?
Exactly. So
Okay.
if you don't like that meds and how it's treating your body because of those effects, I need something else.
Hello.
And if you don't like that one, I need something else because we got options.
And if your doctor say no, change provider.
Okay, because you can change
hello.
providers. You can get another doctor. You can get another therapist. Hell, you can get another yoga instructor. These people work for you. So if they not working for you, change them.
Love
Hello.
it. Love it.
On
Love
that.
it.
So listen, we've had an amazing conversation. I just thank both of you. We thank both of you
For sure.
for coming to share your experience with not only us but the world, right? And so what I wanted to wrap up with real quickly is, Strawberry, what I heard from you earlier is often what I tell people about my experience, that I've been through so much, right? And thank God, like Mom said, I don't look like I've been through, but sometimes it's important for us to realize what our purpose here is.
Yeah.
And so when I heard you say that when you had your positive status, that made you relate to the people you was kind of working with anyway, right? That's the kind of way I feel anyway about the different providers and services that I work with. And I have this mantra that I says that I believe that I was born to suffer so that I can serve, right? And so for me, people, it's like, well, what does that mean? I'll say it again. I believe I was born to suffer so that I can serve. And so what that means to me is that I have to make it make sense. I have to believe that everything that I went through is so that I can help somebody else process forward, right? Or like know what the resources are, know what the experience looks like. And so I applaud you for doing just that, right? Not throwing a pity party for yourself, because I don't think Mom gonna let you do it anyway.
No such thing.
But thank you as well, Mom Katrina, for coming in and like.
Name.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Miss Trina. Right.
And this
So
mom
listen-
is not a gangster.
Right.
I was just tough on my boys because I was a single parent.
But listen, you had to do what you had to do to make sure that they don't become another statistic, right, outside of your hand. So as we wrap up this conversation, we brought a lot of things home today. We talked about accepting people for who they are, that your relationship to them is something that is born in you. You are a mom, you are a child, you are a grandmother, you are auntie, whatever relationship you have, see past what someone's status is and see what matters the most, which is their soul. So if you need to know more about resources, head on over to linkudmv.org. Put your zip code in. You'll be able to find all kinds of resources to get you to who you need to be with. You also can catch up with us. More episodes, more resources, social media links, and things like that. Head on over to
dcndshiv.org/podcast.
That was it. Listen, we'll see you guys for another episode. Check us, and we'll be back. Peace, love, and hair grace.